These are fun.
All right. Now,
This has been hilarious.
everyone, lock in. Get loaded. It's time for the story of the century. Lou, I want you uncut. If you need to say, oh my God, at any point during this, please do.
Did you want me to like, oh no, it's okay.
If you want to sit in here and we get live reactions, I would love that.
Okay. Do you want me to go in there for live
Yeah, come on in.
reaction?
I will
can do
set
that.
it up. I will get everything situated in here.
Do you have the
Make sure
splitter
the
in
mic's
there?
a bit. Yeah.
Oh
Make
yeah.
sure the mic's a bit louder too.
Let me grab a splitter real
Or
quick.
more
So
sensitive.
give us 2 seconds here, guys, to set this one up.
All right, I'm coming in. Live reaction. Oh boy.
This is gonna be great.
I'm so excited, Solus.
Yeah. Oh god, I've only heard it once, and it was to someone else reacting to it. So it's going to be fun reliving the memories of the roller coaster that is the Gaycation.
I've heard it a couple of times, but mostly just from like the TikTok voice to text or text to voice videos.
Welcome to the tavern.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be here doing live reactions. You're welcome.
Oh,
No,
there
just
you are.
kidding, I'm not gonna sit in this chair. He's
Oh,
using the
there's Lou.
bathroom.
Oh.
I'm gonna fill this space with my face. You're welcome. I have no mic on, so I can't, or no headset on, so I can't hear you. But I am going to look
I was
to where
about to
his
say, I
is
don't think
so that I
she can hear
can
us.
plug this in.
Nope, they can't.
Did you unplug your headphones already? Oh, he took them with him to the bathroom. Splitter is in.
Really had to make sure they couldn't hear us
Yeah,
at any point.
Oh, okay. Are we into Thanksgiving
The
style?
cult of Saint Nick all over again.
We should Thanksgiving this, I think.
God, that fucking we have a degenerate here. Fucking doesn't believe in Saint Nick. When you get called a degenerate in front of the entire family for not believing in something, that is some cult shit.
Oh,
You're
the
not- okay.
moment where they described the
I can turn the
twin
green screen off
beds
for
and
this.
the men and
Actually, you know what? Let me
women being
see here really
separated. I
quick.
Yeah,
was
the
like,
men and women
cult,
being separate
cult.
is definitely cult or fucking religion covered as cult or cult covered as religion.
Cult covered.
Yeah.
Cult coded. Okay. All right, let me just.
Can you hear us?
I can.
Yeah. I'm just gonna make this a little
Yeah.
less aggressive on the green screen. That should be better. Okay. So it should be a little less aggressive.
Can
okay.
we hear Lou?
Can you
okay.
hear me?
Kind of.
Okay. Say
You're
something, Lou.
faint.
His mic is. I'm literally like this far away from.
You got to be close to it. That's why.
Oh.
All right.
Lean in, face first.
Just.
Eat the mic.
All right. You
Oh,
guys ready
God.
for the Gaycation? We have Lou
Yes.
live for the live reaction here. My husband, my 42 female husband, and 42 male. Wait, this is fucking weird. Okay, so the OP is 42 female, the husband's 42 male, has informed me he tends to go on a gaycation with his brother-in-law, 35 male in Ibiza. How do I handle this? Original post. Hi there. I really wish I didn't have to make this post, but here goes. So me and my husband have been happily married for about 16 years, give or take. We both have stable careers, good family life, and are fairly fortunate despite the cost of living racking up the UK right now. We have 2 boys, 15 and 10, and up until the Sunday, thought we had it pretty good. We argue sometimes, of course, but never gone too bad. I have a pretty decent sex life with some exploration, but I won't get into that. Long and short is, on Sunday, just after I dropped our boys off at their friends, my husband asked me if we had the house alone, and more importantly, do I have a minute? I said yes, and he sat me down, and then got out this printed poster of some sort of orgy, and started explaining to me the concept of a gaycation. Here's how it's where straight men go somewhere with sun, sand, and booze and become gay for the duration of the trip. That's fine because it doesn't actually count, because what happens on the gaycation stays on the gaycation. I was completely silent and mortified, even more so when he said he was looking into booking a trip to Ibiza next year with his brother-in-law, his sister's husband, to experience it for himself. When he finally let me speak, I just said, I need him to be clear with me. Is he gay? Because if yes, that's okay. But we need to figure out what happens going forward. I didn't let myself get angry or upset. I was just stunned. He swore up and down about how he's not gay. He's 100% attracted to women. And of course, he still loves me and our boys. So I said, Well, do you think you're bi?
Yeah, all of them.
So you
What
might
makes
be
this
bi.
even better is you have to remember they're British.
Do you think you're bi, maybe?
I quite like my boys.
And he got very defensive, saying how he need to drop the accusations and that how that is the beauty of the gaycation. It allows straight men to experience gayness without actually being gay, and how it's like going to the aquarium.
All right, we're all here. We're all here on our lovely British vacation. This gaycation. Everybody drop your drawers.
Welcome to the aquarium. Here you can see the gay men who are not gay having an orgy.
Completely straight.
I love the gay.
Completely into women.
I love.
Absolutely fucking around and finding out. All right. Completely straight.
I love the gay exhibit of the aquarium.
This is my favorite part.
Again, he was adamant he doesn't find men's bodies or genitalia exciting at all, but he needs to experience this. And apparently, I said, well, I'm not comfortable because even if he is bi, this would be explicitly cheating on me. And he got angry and retaliated it's not gay because that's the beauty of the gaycation, baby. I just had enough and left the room.
That's the beauty of the Yowie paddle, my love.
I ignored the splash zone. I ignored it for the rest of the day. But when we spoke at tea, where I again asked him, why does he want to do this so bad if he's not gay? He said how he's interested in how gay men lives differ from straight men, and that, unfortunately, once the gaycation begins, it's simply impossible for a man to resist, and he must surrender himself, mind, body, and soul to the gaycation or be destroyed. I really can't put into words how surreal it is because he's speaking so matter-of-factly. And he again insists that this is a thing that straight men do all the time, and he's actually doing it a bit late. I just said to him, if he has any love for me, then he can't go ahead with this, and if he does, the marriage will be dead. We won't speak anymore after that. Since then, he's mentioned a bit no more about how somehow, and this still scares me a lot too, that decision generally seems to be tearing him up. He didn't go to work Monday, and only went in a half day yesterday because he told me he just felt too ill, and he looks so distraught every time I see him. I really don't think he's wholly gay, though I can absolutely believe he's bi. But I'd rather we talk about it in a healthy way rather than this incredibly weird denialism about going on a sex holiday to Ibiza. Has anyone known straight guys to do this and come back and just go back to being straight? Like, surely that can't be a thing that happens. I'm so out of my depth here. I just don't know how to even initiate the conversation. For the record, I haven't mentioned this to the sister yet. I don't know how to even break it to her. Thanks for any help. I just don't want to think about being able to gather this once there. Right. I just don't even want to think being able to get this out there and help even a bit. Edit. Wow, this is blown up. This has been incredibly sobering. And now I think I've confirmed what I already knew to be the case. The marriage is dead. One way or another, in a way that I was in denial about myself that. I've contacted my sister-in-law, and she initially screamed at me, calling me a liar, and even insinuated that I was trying to steal her husband.
Absolutely
This
wackadoo.
Like insane. Like, it can't be real. Let me just remember this really quick.
You know what?
When was this? Was this like... I think this is like... this was before AI like ran rampant. So...
Well, you can tell this is written by a person
is written.
because there's like a ton of
Yeah.
errors.
And British AI doesn't know about tea time. That's how you know.
And not everyone has a name. AI stories always give everyone a name.
And
It's
it's
true.
always proper and grammatically
Mhm.
correct, like in every sense of the word. And they always have like asterisks and like, specific ways that they break up paragraphs. And this is written like a person who absolutely does not know
Mhm.
what to do about their husband sticking their penis into another man.
It's coming up for it.
Wanting to surrender to the gaycation.
And into the gaycation or be destroyed.
So Nocturnia, are you gonna surrender the gaycation?
Surrender the gaycation.
My straight friend.
Right.
Clearly.
The sister-in-law called him a liar and insinuated I was stealing her husband. She rang me back shortly after, apologizing, and admitted she was in deep, deep shock. I've asked my parents to look after the boys, and we're going to meet tomorrow to discuss this deeper. I've also texted my husband and told him we need to make alternate accommodation arrangements because he will not be sleeping here tonight, and a bag will be waiting for him. P.S. I see a lot of people asking about the aquarium, and at risk of doxing myself, there's a pretty famous aquarium in the UK called The Deep. At the end of every walkthrough, you have a tunnel that goes underneath the main fish tank, so it's quite immersive, I suppose.
Why are these there's so many innuendos in this?
It's so good. My husband explained the aquarium thing, the bit that you go here to observe the fishes. You can even get a bit up close, but you never actually enter the water. Get emotionally invested or become a fish. Gay. So it doesn't really count. It was just very bizarre. analogy, and I point out something makes no sense, and he got more than a huff, and how I just don't get it, and frankly, still don't.
I
There is still more to this story. Okay. This
I
is
don't think I've heard beyond this, so this will be new for me
so
now,
here
too.
comes the update, everyone.
Oh, there's an update.
There's comments, but they're all talking about the divorce. The edit wrapped it up. Just so everyone's aware here. Update, November 28th, 2024. So when I last posted, I contacted my husband to tell him he won't be staying at home tonight and a bag would be waiting for him. As you can imagine, we argued quite badly. I won't go into specific details, but no, I'm 100% on board with the fact that at minimum he's bi. Might even be gay altogether. We've had arguments in the past, but I've generally never seen him have such a childish tantrum before. See about how I just don't understand the gaycation. Absolutely despise that phrase now. And insinuating I'm actually homophobic because I refuse to allow him to participate in this cultural exchange with the gay community.
Oh my lord!
Cultural exchange.
What?
Lou, I just think I watched your eyes pop out of your head.
Clip that, please, somebody. We need that thing. It does get so.
Cultural exchange. So you know how he was saying that she doesn't understand, you know, how about the gaycation and all of that. I don't think he understands what a cultural exchange is.
No.
I think he's confused.
Well, you know, you go to another culture, they
You
teach you their
don't
cooking, their
say.
nature, and then you fuck them in the ass.
Obviously, I am an uncultured swine. I am an ignorant slut.
We are
I
terrible
need-
people. We're so sorry.
We've
You
been doing
degenerate that doesn't believe in
ultrasound.
Saint Nick.
I know. I'm
I
sorry.
believe in the gaycation.
I need to publicly apologize. I feel.
Oh
I
my
am so
God.
sorry.
Oh, a lot of you said to ask him if it'd be acceptable if the roles were reversed, and I did. It would be acceptable if I went and slept with other guys during that week. Like fucking clockwork, he was very angry and offended, saying it's completely different because a gaycation means nothing, and what happens on the gaycation stays on the gaycation,
Fucking knew it.
so it doesn't actually count. Whereas I'd just be straight up cheating, dog. When I turned it around on him, no, but you see
Dog.
what happens in Manchester stays in Manchester. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't count. It's like bird watching. And I think it got through to him. He went all quiet and then started crying, admitting the thought of me sleeping with another man is destroying his heart. But relationships need sacrifice. So agreed, while in tears, that when he goes on the vacation, I get 1 week in Manchester to do whatever I want. He doesn't want me to, but that's fair in a twisted way, he supposed. I told him to get out of my house.
Yeah,
Thankfully,
no.
he left without a fight.
Yeah, no, boo. Now you're all of a sudden being like, okay, I guess so. You can have a, what do they call that? The hall pass?
The hall pass.
Yeah,
So-
you get the yeah.
Yeah, hall pass.
So now all of a sudden, because of the making of the sense, have a hall pass. That's so now you're admitting that it's cheating because
Mhm.
you're allowing the ability to have a hall pass, which if it was all about the gaycation, if he was like, no, if you have girlfriends and you want to go somewhere with a bunch of women and that's what you want to do, then it's like, at least he's trying to make it gay. Because it's about the gaycation,
It
right?
is.
But instead of just being like, go ahead
Yes, the
with
cultural
anyone.
exchange of the gays.
Yes, a cultural exchange of the gays, darling. And you're clearly
Do
missing
you
the
think
point.
Santa goes on a gaycation?
Yes.
Boyd asks.
Yes, obviously.
Terry, you can go on a fat brokeback cruise whenever you want.
I want a Brokeback cruise.
And a hall pass for the splash zone.
Let's go.
I know it's
Alright,
incredibly petty, but I also drained the joint bank account, legal in the UK, so we could try to use it against me. About an hour later, I got a ring up from his mom, who just screamed and screamed at me about me being a cheating whore, how I was horrible, what about the kids, etc. When I finally got my composure back, I said, just ask your son about the gaycation.
No,
All
don't
the-
even deny it. 'cause
Yep,
what happens
yep.
at the gaycation stays at the gaycation. Duh. It's like Fight Club.
Obviously, at first she got angry,
We
but I
don't
said,
talk about the gaycation.
we don't talk about
Correct. We
gaycation.
don't do that.
At first, she got angry, but said, no, just ask about the gaycation. He'll explain it. But she called me a fucking joke and hung up. Later on in the evening, getting another phone call from her, flooded tears. She was very apologetic, and I told her she doesn't need to be the one to apologize. She was so upset, she put my father-in-law on the phone while he sounded calm. But I could just tell he was on the warpath.
You sure about that?
Again, very apologetic. And she said he overheard the phrase, so asked my husband, and my husband initially said, no, it's nothing, before explaining how it's a modern thing men do. and gave them the same spiel about how it happens on the gaycation. Men cannot resist the gaycation. A man must surrender to the gaycation.
Are you having to surrender to the gaycation?
It's
We don't
the
talk about the
release
gaycation.
and surrender bits that just get
Yeah,
me
it's
going.
the
It's
best.
so funny.
It gets the people
Surrender to the
going.
gaycation.
So, Solus, have you surrendered to the gaycation? You can't talk about it, so
Yeah,
I can't even
yeah,
ask you
you
that.
can't.
Yeah,
Yes,
no,
because
I'm not allowed to speak because
Yeah.
what happens on the gaycation stays
That's
on the
right.
By the way,
gaycation.
so you get your passport. I have the tickets for Ibiza.
Yes!
So Solus won't get a passport for your wedding, but he'll get a passport for the gaycation.
Yeah,
Jimmy-
because you have to, Moth. You,
have
can't
to surrender
resist.
to the
You
gaycation.
have to surrender, and I get it now. I get it now. Okay.
Again, very.
You're powerless. You're right, Adam. You're powerless on the gaycation. I get it.
Yeah.
So when does the gaycation start? When you land, or like Mile High Club?
Once you're on the grounds of the gaycation.
The
it
second your
begins.
hand touches dick.
Oh, I've been on a gaycation for years.
No, not a self
So
gaycation.
let's not specify whose it was. I have one.
The second your hand touches your brother-in-law's dick.
Thank you for. As soon as you hit the tarmac, it's gaycation time. Hi, Bora, you're missing the gaycation story.
You're missing
But you're in
gaycation.
for the
Can I
best.
point out the other fact that we haven't really and I know because I've heard the story before, they're going to bring it up, but the fact that you guys have kind of glossed over so far, did you remember who he was going on the gaycation with?
His brother-in-law.
His brother-in-law.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, keep it in the
Someone
family,
he's
bro.
close with.
Keep it in the
He's gonna
family,
go
bro.
fuck his brother.
Or for the TLDR, a woman wants to know if she's an asshole for not letting her husband go on a gaycation with her brother-in-law.
Now listen, boy, I know you can't talk about it. 'Cause
Yes.
it's the
You
gaycation.
can't talk about it.
And you can't talk about the gaycation. I get it.
But you
you
can't
also
resist the
can't
gaycation.
resist it. And you have to surrender to it.
Yes.
So
Or when we're going to Japan.
it's a
When are we
Ibiza.
going to Ibiza?
We're going
It's
to
a
Ibiza.
Ibiza.
Or you're gonna have the story, or someone's gonna. I'm gonna go back and highlight this entire section just for loose reactions on this entire thing.
This is insanity.
So, and we're at the point now for everyone because we went off.
oh, sorry. Hobbit's comment. You never turn your back on family, except on the gaycation. You do a full bend over for that one.
Okay.
Holy
So
moly.
now he's living with the
Jesus
parents, and the
Christ.
parents now know about the gaycation.
I thought no one was supposed to know about it.
Well, yeah, tell someone about the gaycation eventually.
That sounds like
No, no,
ratting
no,
it
no,
out.
no, 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 no. You're allowed to know about the
You can
gaycation.
know.
You're just not allowed to know what happens on
Exactly.
the gaycation.
You must surrender yourself to it wholly, or be destroyed.
Or be destroyed.
Brother-in-law just said they told him to leave or they called the police. Don't care where he goes, but he ain't staying here. Husband tried to call me while I was on the phone. I just ignored it. And father-in-law said he was so sorry for me and that they'd have my corner in this. So that's one thing. Told them to be there for their daughter because it sounds like my brother-in-law is involved. Husband didn't tell them that part. And father-in-law just said he had to go because he was so angry. Got text from my husband after the phone call, which was really rambly, saying how I abused the gaycation to destroy his marriage and destroy his life. And I again insinuated, and his parents were homophobic for doing such a thing, and told him we'll talk when he grows up, and blocked his number. I took the day off work myself, had the locks changed to this morning, so that's 500 gone. But whatever, at least I know he won't be coming back. I'm going to look into how to proceed with the divorce and move on from there. Oh, of course, there's also brother-in-law, so I haven't yet met with sister-in-law. She was in such a state and has taken his far worse than I have for reasons, and that'll be clear soon. We're going to maybe try tomorrow. But we did talk over the phone, and I eavesdropped on the conversation with her husband where she put her phone on speaker and I went to mute. Her husband got home earlier. She made him come home, told him there was an emergency, and just said to him, please explain to me what a gaycation is. She told me afterwards she is praying he'd look confused or just be like, what, or anything like that. But instead, he just sat her down and explained the gaycation is a new thing where straight men go to gay hotspots and participate in gay sex acts, but doesn't count because there's no investment. And because what happens on the gaycation stays on the gaycation.
Stays on the gaycation.
It's not an investment. It's an exchange of culture.
It is the culture.
It's an exchange of something.
He said
It's
it's,
an
like bringing
exchange
down
of
angry
fluids.
thoughts.
Yeah, I was thinking it. I wasn't saying it. Don't bring a black light to the Gaycation.
Don't bring a blacklight to the gaycation. Don't bring anything to the gaycation. It all stays behind.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all behind, all right.
Okay,
He
all right.
said
All
it's like
coming
writing
up
down
the
angry
back
thoughts and putting
alley.
them in the drawer. You never have to see them again. The whole
Except for the
time.
next year at Ibiza, am I right?
Ibiza. Whole time, sister-in-law in tears, as she just called me bats off the same points my husband did about how she doesn't count. How it doesn't count. And he even did the whole impossible to resist. You must surrender or be destroyed shit. I seriously think they must be speaking to a dominatrix or something. Are there even male doms? Because surely neither of them are that into this. They actually make up on their own. I really don't want to get into that disgust for her sake, but it did become very apparent that to me the brother-in-law is a sissy, is into, oh, sorry. The word changes everything is into sissy hypno porn, and at times confided there's the concept of the gaycation.
Can anyone tell me what sissy hypno porn is?
Oh, they'll get to it, Lou.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
They'll
There's-
get to it,
Oh,
don't
good.
you worry.
There's
I
this-
was.
I
I'm
really-
not anymore.
It's a real moment where the sister-in-law is trying to wrap her head around this, while in so floods of tears explained gently, matter-of-factly, that for most men, the gaycation is either one time or an annual thing, but some men go on a gaycation for years, and others simply never return because they use hypnosis and mind control to be totally feminized in a state of permanent pseudo-gayness. She said in disbelief, surely if you're taking up the arts willingly because you want to, that makes you gay. And he said no, because that's the beauty of the gaycation. You do all the gay stuff, but you don't interact with the wider gay life experience. She asked him if the sissy stuff is what he's into. He said, not on a long-term basis. He was adamant this is something all straight men do. And she wouldn't get into it because she's a woman.
Okay. So are we saying that the Dutch rudder isn't gay, but the gay part is going shopping?
It's only if you're in Ibiza.
No, it's all gay, but it's not part of the greater
Yes.
gay lifestyle.
The greater gay lifestyle.
It's not
correct.
the gay lifestyle if you don't do brunch.
Right, it's the brunch. You're right. The mimosas come out, it's gay.
It's only gay there's mimosas.
And as long as they have their socks on. If they have
That's
their socks on, they're
It's
good.
what?
You're right. Moth wins. Yep.
There
I
were-
get it.
That's why they do it in an orgy, remember? It's not
Yeah.
gay if it's in a three-way.
It might be
It's not
nocturnal.
gay.
You might be if you do brunch. There were more insinuations of homophobia. Well, that marriage is dead too, I suppose. The whole deal ended when she said to him, he has a choice to make. And he said no, doesn't need to make a choice because the beauty of the gaycation is it allows him to keep his marriage because it doesn't count. She said that's not the choice. The choice is whether he's leaving the house that night or she is. Only good thing he did was leave. Me and sister-in-law spoke about it after, and I'm just still utterly stunned. I understand she's gone to her parents for support. What exactly do we do to have our lives destroyed in such an abrupt, bizarre, embarrassing way? Personal advice, I'm going to be looking at devices and banks and see if I can find any definitive proof of cheating. After that, I suppose I find out how to tell my boys their father won't be coming home.
Well, it'll be coming, just not at home.
Oh, high five.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's in Ibiza, if you didn't catch that.
It's in a pizza.
And it
There's
spoke to the sister-in-law. Husband's family is older sister, him. Wait. My husband's family is older sister, him, younger brother's original sister-in-law, and gave her a skimmed-down version of it. She asked her husband, and thankfully he was deeply confused. And he mentioned about 2 years ago at a birthday party, he was approached by my husband and my brother-in-law about signing up for some online boot camp about BDSM cross-dressing. He assumed they were talking. He assumed they were taking the piss out of him and told him to fuck off and never really thought of it again. The fact has been going on that long has made me want to throw up. For 2 years, the gaycation. P.S. For the poster about for the posters about divorce options, I'm actually going to look at adultery because plain and simple, that's what it is.
okay.
Lou,
Okay.
you've officially learned about the gaycation.
The gaycation.
Welcome to the family.
The cultural
Gaycation
exchange.
experience.
You've
Cultural
learned about the
exchange.
cultural exchange that is the gaycation.
It's fun to stay at the
Gay-
G-Y-C-A-T-I-O-N.
All right, Lou. Do you feel changed knowing about the gaycation now?
Do you feel changed? Do you feel a call?
I feel
Do
a
you
sense
feel
of
the need to
calm.
surrender to it?
Oh,
Well, see, here's the
Nif,
thing.
Nif,
I'm
I'll
not.
see you in Ibiza.
I'll see you in Ibiza, buddy.
Nif, I'll
And
see you
if
in
you clo-
Ibiza.
The song.
Later.
And if you close your eyes, the song Ibiza.
Yeah.
And if you close your eyes, hey, hey, hey.
Okay, so
the gaycation.
am I changed? Well, I feel more gay now than ever because I live that lifestyle. I don't do the gaycation.
You live the brunch.
I live the brunch life. I
Yes,
do
we're
not
here for
live
the
the
brunch
Dutch
life.
rudder life. So
We're here for the brunch.
As do I.
yeah, so I really truly feel like that's Pompeii if you fool.
Isn't there a song called Ibiza? I feel like
No,
there's a song-
if it did, we took a trip in Ibiza. That one.
Yeah.
Na, 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 na.
Maybe it's still about gay. I took a pill in Ibiza.
What
took a
would
pill.
the
I took a pill.
Moth? You're the foremost lesbian here.
I'm the
What
resident lesbian in the call.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're the bastard climber and
Yeah.
lesbian here.
Yes.
What would the adjacent form of the gaycation be?
I have an answer, but I can't say it on Twitch.
Yeah, no.
One moment. I'm going to say it to Louis. You just watch Louis' face.
Okay. You can say that. It's called. You can say that. The clam
Okay, the
bake.
clam bake.
The climber.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to clip that just for Lou's reaction.
So listen. I feel like this.
My answer was gonna be just a girl's sleepover.
Yeah. I mean, that's whatever. I'm like, come on. It was when your parents said, "Oh, you are not allowed to have boys over, but you can go to your girlfriend's house," and it was like,
Okay.
okay,
Okay.
yeah, pretty much.
I really
So-
got solace with that one.
Yeah,
Damn.
you did.
Oh
So good.
god, that was so
Oh.
funny.
A jam session.
Can confirm. So my thing here is when people are in denial or they're brought up in closed off situations, but they find like-minded people that were also brought up in those closed-minded situations, they can create whatever universe they want because they truly believe what they're saying. So
Sissy hypno porn.
so in this situation, there's a group of guys who are like, this isn't gay, right? And they all looked at each other and went, no, it's not gay because I love my wife. But they don't understand that what they're doing is just being bisexual, which
Yeah.
is totally fine if you can admit, hey, I am bi, but I want to be married to you. But I want you to know that so is my brother-in-law. So we're going to once a year
Who I'm
go on a
fine with
vacation.
going
and-
with Ibiza and Dutch
Because
ruddering.
at least you're being honest as opposed to trying to be in denial about being, maybe not gay, because gay as we all know, like when you are
You
gay,
can also just be
you are
curious,
yes,
but you have to accept
bi-curious
the
is
fact that you're
fine.
curious.
Yes. So in this situation, it's really tough when in this situation, I feel very much like I'm listening to Aaron tell me about the D Club.
Yep. The T Club all over again.
It's the D Club all over again, where I'm like, you fucking serious? And now I need to go and ask, his wife. Is this real
Susie,
life?
Susie, tell me
this
about the D
real?
Club. Yeah, they had so many members, and she rattled off all the names.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. And
It
this
just-
is real.
yeah,
They
real.
dropped their pants. They all looked at each other's dicks and went, okay, this is what life is. But I also think if men were in a situation where you're going into gym class and you have to change clothes, and instead of hiding yourselves because you're embarrassed or whatever and being able to feel open enough to be like, this is my body, it is what it is, then you're more apt to actually talk about your feelings and where you are on, say, maybe the rainbow spectrum, and then actually come to terms with that. And when you're younger, be able to feel more yourself. But there's so many times where especially with men, they don't have the ability to be that open and honest with their feelings, emotions, and the rest of it. And then we get the fucking gaycation, as if it's a real life
Yeah,
thing.
then you get a broom. Then you
Then
get
you get a
broomstick
visa.
up the ass at
be
summer
open,
camp.
guys.
Yeah,
Little
it's
visa.
soulless.
Just be
and-
gay. I did put up a poll for everyone. I want to know what you guys thought was more of a cult, the Gaycation, or is Santa real? Lou, what do you think was more of a cult, the Gaycation or is Santa real?
The Santa real one is an actual fucking cult.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
was some
legit.
horror movie
That's
shit.
a real cult.
The Gaycation wasn't technically
not a cult.
Harming?
No,
It's not
wait,
harming anyone. It wasn't threatening to murder people.
it was
for
harming
being
It
relationships.
wasn't
Yeah.
calling people degenerates.
Yeah, it was.
I
It
mean,
was
they
harming
were.
their
They
relationship.
were calling them homophobic for not letting them go on the gaycation. But
Which-
that's not like threatening their
was amazing.
lives. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but
Oh.
at the end of the day, this all comes down to sheltered people not allowed to be able to like openly express themselves so that they actually get to a group of people where they can tell each other whatever they want and they can believe it, and then they think what they're saying is real, which I mean, yes, in turn can be from a cult, which yeah, of course, you know, you believe what's being told, but it doesn't sound like there's a leader necessarily. It sounds like it's a group of guys who just believe each other as they're yanking each other's chain, literally.
Literally.
And then they just are like, no, it's fine. That's why he's able to talk about it. Yeah, by the way, I'm going to Ibiza. It's a gaycation. Like, as if everyone knows about it because they all talked
Sissy
about it. Like,
no porn BDSM class.
yeah, I mean, you know. So at the end of the day, this is just one of those situations where, unfortunately, they believed what they were saying, and then were shocked that their wife didn't understand.
And then when their wife actually equated it to something they fucking
Yeah.
understood, they were like, yeah,
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
fine,
okay.
go fucking
Yeah.
go.
It's an
You can have your week in fucking Manchester.
Oh.
That was
Hobbit,
something.
that's very correct. It's an
It is
MLM
true.
MLM.
Yeah, 100%. 100% slash a pyramid scheme. Anyway,
Sorry.
so
Guys, thank you all so much for joining me for some Reddit reading. I had a blast. I finally got to do this after like wanting to do it for
That
like a
was
year.
really
So I think
good.
like as long as we've been dating over time, I want to do some Reddit readings.
yeah.
So
That
I'm
was
so glad I finally
amazing.
do it. So thank you guys for
I'm
doing
very sheltered when it comes to Reddit readings
Mhm.
because I've always kind of stayed away from Reddit from the most part. Just
As you
because
should.
like, yeah. And I mean, a lot of times I mean, with the bullying that I had back in like 2017, there was just a lot of like the 4chan stuff and those subreddits and all the rest of it really
those
ran wild.
That shit. The
Oh,
4chan
yeah.
was the fuck. Like Reddit is
So-
just, Reddit is a cesspool, but 4chan was
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
the sessiest, the
The
sessiest, of
sassiest of pools. So that's one of the
The
reasons
most
why I always stayed away
cesspool.
from it. So when Nif was kind of like, oh, this thing on Reddit, and then of course Game Grumps and all the rest of it, I'm like, oh, and then of course Smosh. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll listen to what Smosh has to say on Reddit because that's, you know, fine. And that's only just been
Yeah,
the last
because they
like 6
curate
months.
it.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
curate
yeah.
it for the good, like the actual, like funny, like or
Mhm.
well, entertaining shit.
Yeah, and like 4chan,
It's just
unfortunately in
horrible.
2017 when I did Mass Effect Andromeda, that whole thing was crazy. They were so pissed at BioWare for using their Quebec devs, like the group out there, which was led by a woman. And
Okay,
when the game
yeah.
came out, it wasn't what they wanted. You know, Mass Effect, they're expecting Mass Effect. They did tease like Liara, all the rest of it. So it became this massive explosion of negativity. And of course, I was the face for BioWare of PB. And I got the most amount of hate that I could have ever. And I mean, if I was the person I am now getting that, it'd be much different because I'm a much stronger individual than I was then. But I won the Masters Best in Show and at our cosplay contest locally. And then I was on the Peace Bridge with BioWare getting photos taken. And then every photo they posted was massively attacked by 4chan everywhere across the board. And BioWare couldn't keep up with it. And unfortunately, the local convention that I was at that time, weren't taking comments down because any comment was an engagement and they were ripping me apart about my weight, my everything. Like, it was brutal. And 4chan just went off and it was just... I mean, I'm talking
Well, yeah.
thousands and thousands of comments. So I just stayed away from it. So now when I get to hear this stuff, it's like a whole new world
It's
to me. I'm
wild.
like, whoa.
And I'll say,
Yeah, because
honestly, I
this
had
shit's
about
the
12 stories tonight. I had about 12, if not more, stories lined up. There was D&D horror. There was D&D horror stories coming up, like such as, should I be upset that someone talked about my character being ugly? Like, oh, a player left the game because my character was ugly. So if we ever do this again, guys, I got more stories ready to go.
Okay, but the character being ugly is one thing. But if like somebody, for instance, has not a fear, what do you call that when it's like a phobia? Like Red and I were talking about where it's like Vommy Mommy in Dead by Daylight. They're somebody can't handle the fact that there's a vomiting,
Yeah.
you know, character. So if your character that
Emetophobia?
you've yes, so if you have a character who is actively doing something that can trigger another player, this is why when you have like a group of people at the table, the DM kind of knows their people so that they know, hey, no, you can't have a character that's like that. That's gonna maybe upset the table. But they do it anyway. Well, yeah, somebody can be upset by that because you're actively triggering something that they can't handle, especially if you're making like gagging noises. I say this because this happened to me. I'm okay with it, but that's something that if it's like you're at the table and that's like what's happening, it's like,
I'll tell you with complete honesty, it's literally just about the fact that they made a mutant half dog, half cow.
I just have questions. I would just have questions.
Just have
I mean, like,
questions.
you know, it's like the gaycation. There's just questions that will always be left unanswered, but you know,
But in the
it's
meantime,
fine.
surrender yourself to the gaycation, everybody.
Surrender yourself.
Surrender yourself. And I think with that, it's time to get ready
Or
for
be
some
destroyed.
Jackbox. Lou, thanks for coming on live so you can
Namaste.
see your reaction for that.
Namaste.
Thank you so much. Mom,
That
was
in the
amazing.
chat for that, but let's get some Jackbox ready, shall we?
Yay!
That one's mine, yeah.
Oh, Red's in the waiting room.
Wrong one.
No.
That one's mine. I got this. We're tangled together again. Okay. All right, well, let
Hi,
Lou go get
Red.
situated.
Hello.
All right, let's jump to the game screen. Do we want to do Quiplash first?